Hello, my name is Angela Fricky, and I am a student at Unity College, and I will be discussing the effects of drought on mule deer and their nutrition. So you may ask yourself, why should you care about this? If you are a hunter, it will directly affect you in your hunting, and so you should be aware of the effects that drought have on mule deer and the effects that it will then have on hunting. Mule deer are being affected by the droughts and their populations are dwindling and they're not able to regenerate their populations as fast as they need to. So this means for hunters that you won't find the deer in the areas that you are accustomed to as populated as you normally would see them. And it may result in having to hunt different areas. It may result in regulations for hunting being more strict, where there is no hunting in certain areas, shorter hunting periods in other areas in order to help the population grow. And so if you do hunt, you should be aware of drought seasons and the effects that it may have. The drought affects mule deer nutrition through the forbs because the forbs, which are these flowering plants that are not grass, they're the early flowers that kind of pop up in spring, very first little shoots that pop up. This is a picture of a forb. They are the most nutritious part of the mule deer diet, and during drought they are not as plentiful, and that means that without the nutrition that the deer get from these forbs, they are going into winter with half the nutrition they require and they're starving. The bucks, you'll see the nutrients from the forbs going to the fat production on the body instead of the growth for the antlers. And so during drought years, you will see the antlers on bucks being kind of spindly and not as thick. The pregnant does are also affected by the lack of nutrients from the forbs that are not showing up because of the lack of water. And that is affecting them by their ability to carry fawns full term, so they're miscarrying more, and they are also not able to carry twins, and so that affects them as well. The lactating does, the ones that do end up having fawns and then are lactating, are also affected because they're not getting the proper nutrition to support a healthy milk supply, and so the fawns are actually being affected in their growth because of the lack of nutrition in the milk. Mule deer population is affected by drought, like I mentioned before. It decreases the deer population. They are going into winter with less fat on their body and not coming out surviving. And the reason for this is the forbs give them the essential nutrition for the fat storage on their bodies to go into winter and survive winter, because during winter their nutrition and their food source is pretty low, and so they rely heavily on the nutrition from the forbs. And if they're not there, or they're getting less nutrition from the forbs because they're more sparse, then they're coming out of winter and not surviving. They're dying. The new fawns that are being born have a higher mortality rate because they're not getting the nutrition that they require. So it's not allowing the population to regenerate like it should, because the new fawns are not able to survive. There's also more predation on these mule deer during the year's drought because they are weaker from the lack of water, dehydration, lack of nutrition from the forbs, and so they just kind of become easier prey for the predators, and the predators are killing them off a whole lot faster and a whole lot quicker. And then what is being done to help these deer? I'm going to watch with you a short clip from a news story in 2014 about a woman who rehabilitates fawns, and this was during a particularly bad drought in California, and it just kind of goes over the correlation between the drought and the increased numbers that she saw in the deer that she was saving. And so we will just take a quick look at that.
$1,000 a year to train donation funded organization. The owner says she is now desperate. Of $50,000.
And so as you can see, there are help for the ponds with the facilities like that. Another way that we can, oops, sorry, another way that we can help these animals or the mule deer are with the use of water guzzlers. I'm gonna watch a short clip, just kind of talks about them. They are water system, um, basically water systems for the wildlife. They put them in areas that see heavy drought. There's about 900 of them in Utah, and so we're just gonna watch this really quick, and it'll just go over it really quickly. So as you can see, the water guzzlers are a great source of water for these animals. In conclusion, not do a whole lot about the acts of nature, such as drought, and there's not a whole lot we can do there, but we can help alleviate the effects on the mule deer of drought. Um, Obviously, using the water guzzlers will help ease dehydration in the deer, and they will not have to uh, migrate so far to find water. They'll be able to stay kind of in the areas that they're used to, and it won't require so much energy to migrate and to find the water, and they will not die of dehydration. The facilities to help rehabilitate and reintegrate the lost or the injured or displaced fawns from their mothers is another way that we can help alleviate the effects of drought on the deer. If we use more of those facilities, we are able to see the population grow because the fawns are not dying out on their own. The hunting regulations, just be aware of those and take into consideration that during drought years, the deer will have smaller populations. And so all these things together will help ensure that the populations are not being depleted faster than they can regenerate and help ensure that our mule deer don't disappear. And then here is just a list of my references that I use to kind of help put the presentation together. I thank you for your time and for watching this presentation, and I hope all have a fantastic day.